And then if we need to, we'll put it up on YouTube later. You can share it. Absolutely. All the episodes that I record through the Drew 2 are available on YouTube, totally free. This episode, we'll call it, there's nothing here that I'm selling. I'm just giving out free information. And today's information is about investing in real estate, which is something that I might have been doing for a little while. So let me get set up with sharing the screen here, and we can go ahead and get started. 1 second. Oh, and it is just me, so forgive me. I'm just going to keep everybody on mute. And then at the end, if you'd like to ask questions or anything, we can certainly do that. All right, we should be good to go. All right, so welcome once again to the Drew 2. Since it is just me, I might be admitting a few more people into the meeting, but every time I do a Drew 2 in this format, it's for 22 minutes, and then we get back on with your day. So it's very short, it's very brief. I just want you to maybe take away 1 or 2 concepts from a meeting like this. You can always call me later to figure out or ask questions if you'd like. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so today we're going to be covering why you should be investing in real estate right now, right this minute. You've probably seen a few headlines about this topic, and I'm going to dispel some rumors or at least share some information. And the decision is yours, of course. But we'll figure out if now is the right time to invest in real estate. So who am I and what's the Drew 2? Well, the Drew is me. I'm Drew. I'm Andrew Postel. I've been investing in real estate for over 20 years. I am a loan officer, but this discussion is not about mortgages. I'm in the top 1% of all loan officers. I lend in all 50 states, certainly here to help if you need anything in that regard. And when I speak to real estate, I'm talking about residential real estate, okay? So triple net leases and gas stations, all that's cool. But our discussion is about residential real estate specifically. And you can follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. I do a 2-minute or less, social media post every day about real estate. And then YouTube is where we post all of the things that I try to share about. And there's my information, okay? There's my phone number, my direct number. Call me anytime, email, things of that nature. All right. Now, why am I even talking about real estate? I want to be clear here. I'm talking about investing. So investing means that I have money, extra money over my own bills. Every successful real estate investor that I know has lived beneath their means. So they have extra money to put into real estate. And real estate is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is not, even though some people talk about it like it is. It is not. This is over time, we build wealth, and it's a lot of wealth too, generational wealth. We do gain financial independence, but it does not come overnight. It's through consistent buying of real estate at good prices. So why real estate? All right, I want to make sure to be clear about why I'm saying real estate. We earn income from the real estate that we invest in. We earn income, and we earn income in 3 different ways. The first way is the cash flow of the property. I'm talking about buying residential rental properties. That's the kind of real estate I invest in. Every month, I generate income from it, the rent. Now, there's expenses, and the difference between the rent itself and the expenses, that little gap, that's the cash flow that I receive each month for owning real estate. But that's the smallest piece of the income that I receive from real estate. The other pieces are the appreciation of the asset. So real estate goes up over time. If you own any real estate, you've probably seen how much your piece of property has gone up in value. Imagine if you owned 5, 10, 15, 20 of those. Yeah, this is how we create real wealth. And then the third way is through the principal buy down. I mean, maybe you may not need a loan, but the rest of us do. Okay, so whenever we purchase real estate through a mortgage, I don't pay the mortgage, my tenant does. And every time the tenant makes a payment, my balance goes down. I make income from that because it reduces the debt, the appreciation of the asset, And if I lose out on one of these, I still have the other two to earn income from. So right now, a lot of the discussion around this topic is, well, Andrew, the rates are so high and I'm having to pay a lot for properties, I can't cash flow. That's true on year one, maybe even year two. Remember, it's not get rich quick. Every year you're going to increase your rent. Every year. In 20-something years of doing this, I've never decreased rent. So even if I don't cash flow day one, I will cash flow later. But the true income is through all three. The other two pieces of the puzzle help me earn income. Now, if I can play devil's advocate on the same thing I'm talking about here, can you buy a stock that appreciates in value? Yes, you can. Can a stock give you cash flow? They call it dividends. So yeah, it could. And can you buy a stock for $5? Yeah, you certainly can. Can I buy a house for $5? No, that's kind of hard. But real estate not only generates income in similar ways that other asset classes do, but it gives me more benefits than other asset classes as well. So I want to talk about the three benefits of real estate. All right, so number one, it's a hedge against inflation. Inflation is a very big topic right now, right? Aren't we trying to curb inflation? Some of our incomes haven't been keeping up with inflation, have they? So if I could get an asset class that I could increase my income every year, like increasing the rents, like I just talked about, that is a hedge that helps me combat inflation. Now, the other piece of it too is that maybe I could have tax deductions. What if all the income was tax deductible? Or maybe I should say it as, I don't pay any income tax at all. 20-something years, I've never paid income tax on the income that I have from real estate because there's so many tax deductions from it, tax deductible. And then the third piece of it, it's tangible. If my stock goes to zero, the stock that I bought for $5, if it goes to zero, what do I have? Nothing. I don't have anything. If real estate goes to zero, what do I have? And it's never gone to zero, but if it did, what do I have? I still have real estate. I still have land. I can go live in it. It's a tangible asset. This is very different than other asset classes. Through the history of time, lots of things have been worth money, right? Remember when tulips, if you remember your history books, tulips were a thing. They're not a thing anymore. Real estate has been a thing forever. People always need a place to live. So if I'm trying to choose places to invest my money, my extra money is what we're talking about, I like real estate. One of the big complaints about real estate, maybe I shouldn't say complaint, discussion topics, areas of controversy. Will the values go down, Andrew? Will they go down? Is there a bubble? So let's look at some data sources. Let's look at all the data sources. Give me any data source that measures housing, and I'll show you that we are in a shortage. Realtor.com, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, everybody says that we do not have enough housing to go around. And it's not like a couple thousand, in the millions. We are short on real estate in the millions. We don't have enough. And this is why values have been going up so fast. And if you look at population measurements, people under my age group, there's a huge amount of those people who will become homeowners at some point in their life, and there's not going to be enough housing to go around, just like there isn't right now. That's why the values are going up. So ATTOM, ATTOM, this is a housing think tank. They do studies and statistical data. So they say that 48% of all the mortgaged homes that are out there have huge amounts of equity in them. Massive amounts. Like people only own half of the property's number in debt. They've got so much equity. The Federal Reserve last year did a study. The average homeowner is worth $250,000 because of the equity that they have in their home. Guess what the average renter is worth? 6,000. It's not going away. And it's kind of sad that owning a home is becoming an elite position. Yeah, kind of. I wish there was more affordable housing. But the trouble with housing is there's not enough to go around, and that's why we want to try to invest in it. Let's look at some other data sources. So here's the new home builds over the past, I don't know, what do we got here? 40 years, 45, 50 years. So in the past 15 years, since the housing crisis back in 2008, we've been under a 52-year average of new homes that are being built. We're not building enough. Like in the past 50 years, we're not building enough. So in the 1970s, the 1980s, they were building more homes than we're building right now. Just in the past year, we started building some, but supply lines and all sorts of issues, labor issues. We're not building enough housing. And how many families do we have in America? Well, here's some data sources from 2007. So we have 14 million more households, about 130 million households. But we're building about 3 million less into homes from the peak. It's not enough. This is why we want to think about real estate. Supply and demand, there's not enough supply, and there will be huge demands coming forward. Now, let's take a look at some other things too. I want to show you another piece of information that's really important about choosing how we invest. So you might have heard in the past, maybe you haven't, but there was always a big rule that we always talked about in the housing industry. The average homeowner owns their home for 7 years. And that was true back before the housing crisis. But since the housing crisis, people have been keeping their homes longer and longer and longer and longer. Right now, we're averaging 12 years. That means there's fewer homes that come on the market. They're not selling their own homes because they're keeping them longer. And guess what just happened last year and the year before? If you remember, interest rates went all the way down to the 3s, to the 2s. Are those people going to sell their homes? No, they are not. A lot of them have become accidental landlords, meaning they have since moved, but they don't want to give up their 2% rate. They don't want to sell that home. That's free money. If you borrow money below the rate of inflation, it is free. I shouldn't say free, but it's free. But borrowing below inflation means you're borrowing at a terrific rate. And that's what millions of people already have in their homes, and they're not going to be giving them up. The amount of homes that are on the market now, you might see in your city. I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so we have lots of homes in the market, but a lot of them are just trash because no good homes are coming on the market. If it is a good home, there's a bidding war, really, right now. But if your home doesn't sell within the first 3 to 7 days, it's going to stay on the market for 90 days. That's the kind of inventory problems we have. There's not enough homes, there's not enough good homes, and then the ones that are remaining aren't the best homes to be choosing from. So what if I could invest in a good house, in a good class? Let me show you something else about how difficult it is to buy a home. I know, I'm telling you to buy something that's difficult to buy. Yeah, because it's hard to get. It means you're just a protected class. So in this chart, there's a blue line and a green line. I want to explain it just for a moment. The blue line is how expensive it was to my income to afford a home. And the green line is where the rates went. So back in the 70s and 80s, when the rate went up, it was expensive for me to afford a home. The higher the rate went, the more expensive it became. Makes sense, right? And then when the rates came down, well, the cheaper it was for me to buy a home. Well, duh, Andrew, isn't that how it works now? No, it does not work that way now. Look around 1997, 2000. The rates went down, but the affordability, like how expensive it was to my own income, went up. The income is lagging behind the price of homes. Remember when your grandparents or maybe your parents say, oh, back in my day, we had 14% rate and I could do just fine. Well, that's terrific. I got half that rate and I can't afford what you could afford then. That's exactly what this chart says. So even though the rates are going down in some instances, it's more expensive for me because my income is not increasing at the same rate that houses are increasing in value. It's becoming harder every day for an average person to afford to purchase a home, which means if you own a home, you're going to be in a great position for the next several years, decades, maybe. It's harder and harder right now. And yes, I'm telling you, we need to invest in housing because of how hard it is, because that means your asset class would be protected in its value. All right. I hope I made at least some type of a case of why I'm choosing real estate over other asset classes right now. It's hard to do. So let's discuss some things why, like maybe the best way to invest in real estate. What's the best way? Maybe there's not a best way, but here's some ways, just some ideas for you to think about, like your own primary home. There's lots of people who do not own their own primary home. You can start your investment career by just purchasing your own primary home. Why would we do it this way? Well, because I have the lowest down payment. I have the lowest interest rate. There's even down payment assistance programs that help me purchase a home. Yeah, they give me money to help me purchase a home. And then you have sellers. Like, what if somebody's home has been on the market that's, one of those not the greatest homes, but they have to sell. They're going to give me concessions. Hey, man, if you don't sell me your home, I'm going to go to the other 15 homes in this area that have also been on the market for 100 days and go get concessions from them. Your negotiating power right now is big in comparison to what it was when the rates were 2s and 3s. Because of that, now might be a good time to consider buying my own primary home. I feel a lot more comfortable about things when I get a good deal on them. That's what you can get right now. But there's also this expense piece of it, right? And well, Andrew, you said it was more expensive. Yeah. So let's think about house hacking. And no, I don't mean like tearing up your home, chopping it up. No, I mean renting out a portion of your own primary home. This is how I got started 20-something years ago. I rented out the rooms of my home. And you can do single family homes. You can do like a duplex or triplex or quad, or you can even have a home that has an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit, like a mother-in-law suite or a garage apartment. You can mitigate your expense by renting out part of your property. I know this may not be something that everybody can do. Just ideas to think about, okay? The third thing I want you to think about if you're looking to invest in real estate is just buying a regular old rental that doesn't need any work. Single family home, buy it under the median home price in your market. So my median home price is $380 here. I would never buy a $380 home here. I buy $280. $280 and under is a great rental property, well below the median. In case the economy does get crazy, people downsize into those price points. And there's always thousands and thousands of people who need to rent in that price point too. So I want you to think about maybe buying a property that doesn't need repairs. And if this is something you want to do, all right, I need 20% down. That's a lot. Well, there's this other technique too that you can help mitigate that down payment called the BRRRR method. And again, we're just covering concepts today. I can spend an hour on any one of these. And I have before. I think I've actually put these up on YouTube before too. So if you want to explore some of these, look them up. The BRRRR method, I buy a home that's in disrepair and I fix it up and then I rent it. All right, so it's a little bit more complicated, but it certainly helps me lower my out-of-pocket expense when it comes to investing in real estate. Now, there's one example I want to give you, and I think I've talked about this before in the past with some people, but I just like to remind people about the worst possible timing ever in the history of the housing market. Andrew, I'm still concerned about buying a home. All right, let's take me for an example. When I bought homes during the housing crisis. So here's a townhouse that I purchased in Jacksonville, Florida. I purchased it in 2008. Wow, how smart was that? I didn't know how to time the market. I still don't. I buy on value though. I purchased this home for $132,000. Man, that's really inexpensive, right? That's how much I bought it for. The year before they were asking $175,000. I thought it wouldn't go down any further. I was wrong, but I bought it with zero down, nothing out of my pocket. That sounds pretty good. But my interest rate was 7. Sound familiar? I couldn't cash flow, and I didn't. And then I got hammered with value for 5 years straight, over and over and over. I couldn't refinance. I couldn't sell. And that was fine. I never bought this home to sell. I still own it today. I never lost anything. Oh, I did lose something because it never cash flowed. I might have lost like $142 on some of the months per month. That's a lot, right? That sounds like a lot, but it's a savings plan for me. And then I will sell it this year for $260,000. So it took 15 years, but now when I do sell it, I'm gonna profit $137,000 on my home. Now, this is not typical. Results aren't typical. This one is not typical either, because it's the worst timing I could ever think of to buy a home, and I still bought it, and I'm still going to be fine. If I would have annualized my rate of return, buying at the worst time ever in history, I have about a 18% cash on cash return. No, my cash, sorry, 100% cash on cash return, because I didn't put anything into it. It was zero down, and I just came out of pocket my monthly amount. So my average annual rate of increase on my value, the appreciation, was about 5% per year in the worst possible case. That's not normal, but in my decision-making today, I still use 5% appreciation to validate if the property is worth buying. Now, right now, I own 15 homes. I'll sell this home and I'm going to go buy 2 more. I like real estate. It's the most cost-effective asset class I can think of. Now, this is the end of our presentation. Like I said, 22 minutes every 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to speak about how to use your primary home to build your own real estate empire. You can use a low down payment, low interest rate primary home that you live in, and then use that property effectively to own millions of dollars of real estate. Seriously, I will share with you how to do it and how I did it. That's in 2 weeks on April 25th. Now, this is the end of our presentation. I want to make sure to have some time available if you'd like to ask any questions. Take yourself off mute. And if not, we'll just adjourn. So thanks to everybody for being here. If you have any questions, now is the time.
Thanks for your insights, Andrew, and for the presentation and how you put it together. It was really well done with being concise and hitting on the high points and showing that there's really the pros far outweigh the cons.
Oh, well, thank you. Am I saying your name correctly, Genevieve?
Yes, you are.
All right. Thanks so much for even being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks so much for being here. My contact information is on the screen. Feel free to call me directly if you have any questions, or email me. Certainly here to help. And thanks for watching today's Drew 2. See y'all later.
Bye. Thank you.